everybody knows this man as the Mod Father, right? And not only that he is the Mod Father, because obviously, yeah, he is kind of like the go-to person for all your modifications when it comes to consoles, arcade cabinets, handhelds, you name it. But this guy is also a mean fighting game player as well. Like people just don't know. Like I would say like he is like one of the goats that I've seen. So introducing Mr. Jose Cruzlink NYCVF Cruz. What is happening, my guy? What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just home, working on a chassis for one of my customers in the UK. He bought it from, I think, from China. And within like a couple of days, the green color went away. So he shipped it over DHL. But I'm happy to be talking to you, man. It's been a while since you told me you wanted to do an interview, so I'm ready.
I mean, I greatly appreciate you being on, man, and it means a lot. And it's funny because I'm catching you in your element right now. Actually, you're working at this moment, but
Yeah.
it is pretty awesome. Regardless of you working, you definitely taking the time to, give an interview, which it really means a lot that you're doing that. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no, you're welcome, man. I'm happy to do it.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So tell me, Cruz, where did it all begin for you in terms of gaming, man? Like, how did it start?
Honestly, in terms of gaming, I always well, back in Puerto Rico, because I didn't always live in New York. I moved here in '96, so I'm the oldest of 8 kids. So when I was growing up, there wasn't really much, Technically, to be honest, I was the oldest, so I always took the hit where, oh, there's no money for this, there's no money for that. So when I started working, I would actually go. Me and my friends, we would walk over to this mall in our hometown, Caguas, NPR, and It was dope. We would go to the supermarket called Extra, and we would pack bags. We would make our money, and then within that same mall complex, there was an arcade, and there was a movie theater right across. So we would buy tickets to see a movie, and then we would go while we waited for the show to start. We would go into the arcade, and it was, yeah, man. I think that's where my love for everything gaming started. I really couldn't afford a system till I moved to New York. So for the most part, it was going to an arcade and playing in the arcade. And I think that's why I love so much the arcade scene in general, because I got to experience it very young. And I mean, I could tell you everything. I could tell you sometimes if we didn't have enough money, we walk in, and the first thing we do, you think we were crazy. We're looking under the machine. You would go to the coin return and you'd be putting your finger in there just in case. Later on, you learn the trick with the wire to give yourself credits. Yeah, that's where it started. I remember my first fight came off of that, because me and one of my buddies, we were walking to the mall, and there was a bodega right before you hit the mall, and we were gonna go to work, and we started playing in this bodega. I don't know if it was World Warrior or what it was. All I know is that he was tight because I was grabbing him or something, and I swear to you, I think I was playing Ken, he was playing Blanca, something like that. And all I know is he got so tight, the next thing I know, I got punched, and we're rolling on the floor fighting, and then they separated us, and then we went on. We were still friends after. We went on to pack bags, make money, and then go to the arcade again. Right. But that, I think it started, straight from like straight from the childhood, pretty much.
That's pretty.
And
dope.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Like starting from there, and it's kind of funny because during growing up, right? Because originally I was born from Guyana, came up here when I was 1, and usually my mom would take me back to Guyana for like summer vacation and everything like that. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed also is like they would have like these game shops, these arcade game shops or so, and majority of them would have like some arcades that's like they're actually not calves, but I would kind of call them like, oh, these guys kind of made their own in some sort of way. Like they had
That's
the
how it is. Yeah.
yeah, they have the board and everything like that. They got the wood, put it together with the buttons, and I would go there like almost every day and play some video games based off of that. So it's funny how like some third world countries that really
Yeah,
they had
yeah,
that
the
like
Caribbean,
yeah,
Central, South America, it was always like that.
yes,
That's why like Neo Geo, I believe Neo Geo is probably one of the most loved systems down there
yes it is.
in the Caribbean, South and Central America because it was one of the cheapest ones for operators to afford. And like you said, they would build their cabinets around it. They would have the board, but then maybe they couldn't afford the real cabinet, so they would build their own thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So alongside in terms of the upbringing, what was your favorite game? What was your favorite games when you were playing?
To be honest, I loved so right before so we didn't move to New York till 96, I believe March of 96. So my mom's she went on ahead with my sister, the second oldest of us. And we moved in with my grandpa in the countryside. Same town, but we lived in the city side of the town and grandpa lived in that. So we were like living with grandpa, and I remember there was a kid that moved that basically came from the States, Puerto Rican kid, but his mom inherited a house, so they moved from the States and they inherited and it happened to be right next to my grandfather's, and this kid was the only kid, so he was spoiled. So like one day I made friends with him and I go to his house, and the freaking the basement of his whatchamacallit of his house, he had like a gaming room, and I would go and play with him. And I remember the first time I beat him in Super Nintendo, and he took it from me. So, like, my favorite thing was platformers, because with that I couldn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I heard you.
Oh, damn. I know this headset was bad. Ugh. Hello?
Yeah, man.
Did my headset die?
No, I can hear you still, man. So.
Oh man, that's weird because I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. So literally this kid, like he would, I used to have to like lose some purpose if it was competitive. So I kind of like I would lose some purpose because otherwise he would take the controller away from me. So like that made me kind of like get more for the time being into like playing the single player stuff until I moved to New York. When I moved to New York, I lived a little bit in in East New York. I lived I remember when I first moved,
Yeah.
me and my moms, we lived with my aunt in Sutter and Pennsylvania Avenue, right across from Jefferson High. But it was a small 2-bedroom apartment. Eventually we went to a shelter, and then we got an apartment in Hull Street by Broadway Junction. And once, I swear to God, once we got housing in Coney Island, that's when really like I started to work and I started to afford systems. And that's when I started getting more into fighting games, because I don't know, are you old enough to know like about IRC and everything?
Oh yeah,
Into the really deadline work.
Oh yeah,
So
I
I got it. Like, yeah. I thought I was hot shit. That's the way I really got into fighting games. I used to work at McDonald's, 24th Avenue by the D line. Across the street, like was a game shop called the Circle 2 or whatever. Every time we went on a lunch break, me, Aya, and Julio, we go over there to see what's new. So one day they had a Virtua Fighter 4 Vanilla for PS2. Man, I was so much into those old Kung Fu movies that when I saw the demo running, I saw Shun-Di doing all those moves from Jackie Chan Drunken Master. We copped the game right away, boom. And we started playing, and that's how IRC came into it, because I thought I was good,
Right.
I thought I was hot shit, and I was beating Aya and I was beating Julio. And so there was no YouTube, so I was trying to find more information on the move list, how to get better, combos, whatever. And I found IRC. There was on FNet, there was this place called BF Home. And this guy tells me, "Oh, you play BF? You're from New York? You're in Brooklyn? Yo, go to Chinatown Fair, Mott Street, blah blah blah." Dude, I went there one day thinking I was, oh my god, I got demolished. That's when I met the old BF crew from that. Those guys been playing since part one in New York. I got demolished, but like it was an encouragement. It was like, I was like, oh shit. So there's other levels to this. And yeah, I started playing on there, and that took me over. And it just so happened that not to get sidetracked, but we used to go there every Friday, and that's where like my love for fixing cabs came in, because the guys had already bought two Astros, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Right.
So like I'm the one that started. Every time the game would freeze, I got an ATX power supply and put it in the Naomi, because the old power supply was dying. And yeah, it was dope. I mean, I hope I answered your question, because I got a little sidetracked. If anything you want me to recollect, you let me know.
Yeah.
But yeah, for honestly, fighting games is one of my favorite genre. But in the beginning, it was kind of like, when I didn't have a system, then I would have to, whoever was the host, I would have to, not be trying to beat them, because otherwise, here goes the controller, get me. Can't play no more. They would get tight. So,
Right.
And in Chinatown Fair is where I met the big, met Tag. I met Rodney, I met Norman, I met a whole bunch of people, and that was they were still playing ST there, Marvel 2, CVS. But I don't know, for me, to tell you the truth, I don't know if it's too much out of the context, but I'm competitive as hell, but I also like something about the community aspect also, like, because there was so many things I did through fighting games. I never been nowhere, I never traveled outside of New York State until I got into fighting games. Started going to majors, BF events that were like in Boston, Jersey, California. Like, it kind of brings you out of your comfort zone, and you meet a lot of good people, like friends for life. I'm sure like, I don't have to explain that to you.
No, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
absolutely. I feel like it definitely really opened my eyes when I first got into the community, because I felt to myself, when I got in, I'm like, man, this is kind of dope. Like, I'm meeting people that, they play the exact same game. And I'm like to myself, man, at the same time, I'm like, I thought I was hot shit. Now I can't, I'm not even hot shit, because these guys are beating my ass. It's crazy. It's like, man, I was like, okay, so now that it really opened my eyes, and I said it a third time, because it's like, man, okay, there's always somebody out there that's gonna be better than you.
That's better.
And then, then it helps you say, okay, not to mention, well, now it's time for me to become just as good as them. So
yeah, exactly, yeah, it's almost like a battery in your back. There's only two ways you could take it. You either get discouraged or quit. But if you're from the right, in my opinion, I think, like, if you're from that 80s 90s generation, and you already grew up, I'm not going to say terribly, but I'm saying I wasn't rich. I live, still live in the projects, whatever, or live in the hood. Like, you already have a mentality that's a little bit tougher. So getting your ass beat in a game, it's not going to make you quit. I'm pretty sure that like you said, it got you to say, oh shit, I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to be better. I want to get to the point where I'm with these guys, or I'm able to beat them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely. And I feel like that's important. I feel like when it comes, it's based off of upbringing, because it's like, just like you, yeah. I mean, wasn't rich or anything like that, kind of poor and everything like that, but we made by, times we moved a lot, was in the shelter too myself. And honestly, when it comes to gaming, it's kind of like, it was like that one outlet that,
100%.
It helped me just get through everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially like fighting games, because they really get through everything. It's like, sometimes I feel to myself, hey, I play this game, and I'm like, well, you know what? I don't feel sad or anything like that
You
because
forget about
you
when
just
you're
forget
playing. You
about it.
forget about whatever problems you have. Yeah, it's really it really is an outlet. I
Yep.
tell the guys at Brooklyn Arcade I tell them like, look, man, when I come here, I don't want to hear no drama. Just play,
Hmm.
beat some ass, get my ass. But this is kind of like I tell them. It might sound corny or whatever you want to call it, but this is my therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
this is yeah, this is my therapy. Like, let's not mess this up because technically speaking, like you said, especially when you don't come from a good upbringing, games might have kept a lot of us out of street stuff or going the wrong way. That was our little, you know, escaping from our world and yeah. So I'm glad that it's around. Honestly, I feel like even as an old man now, I feel like I still feel good at
yeah. Nah, I know exactly what you mean. I mean,
compress,
it,
compress from work week,
it,
get boss, baby mama drama. Like, it's awesome that, I don't, sometimes I do tell the guys, like, do you guys understand how fortunate, like, we are to have a spot, this day and age? Because when we were growing up, arcades were a dime a dozen. I remember playing games in bodegas, in the mom and pop video shops, in the laundromat. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
And on top of that, there was arcades everywhere too. So that's what I'm saying. Now, what we do is niche. That might be why I love so much to help, and I'm sure you feel the same way too. You love to help propagate and keep it going, and give so much of your time where you organize your little online tournaments and streams, because what that did for you, you wanted to do for other people. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And you want to keep it alive, and that's to me that's the biggest thing. I feel like when I see younger people come into the arcade and I try to teach them, the new generation is not as rough as we were, so I'm nice to them. I don't let them win, but I don't humiliate nobody, and I tell them, oh yeah, you could have done this, you could have done that. Why? Because you don't want to discourage them. If anything, that you want somebody else to pick up the torch after we freaking out here with arthritis and Bengay and stuff, that maybe the youngest could propagate. It's true. Like, I want it to keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get joy when I'm at the arcade and I see you guys playing ST and I see some crazy moments happening. Even if I'm not participating, just watching and being there while it's happening in real time, that brings me joy. You know what I'm saying? That makes me happy when I see the crazy moments, whether it's the Third Strike Monthly, whether it's the game that I play or not. Just seeing that like the effort and everything that we do help propagate the community. That to me is freaking dope. I never thought I would still be like playing. You know what I'm saying? Playing
Absolutely.
games or have a spot to play at. So that's how I feel about it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I love how you really explain that. In terms of the upbringings to kind of pretty much using gaming for like an outlet to just like kind of be in a different space, which is very true because everybody goes through pretty much something like that. So
Hmm.
I greatly appreciate that explanation. So okay, so let's move on to like your
Let's go.
tournament history, right?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got you. Like,
I want you to tell me what was your first one, your first tournament.
oh, my first tournament. Honestly speaking, my very first tournament. So when I met the BF crew, the New York BF crew, I believe at the moment we were playing Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. That's the one we had in the arcade, and the final tune, which was the final version of Virtua Fighter 4 in the arcade, hadn't come out yet. So I made friends with the crew, and they held a tournament which they used to call MYG. Well, we still hold it once in a while, me and Haya. But I remember it was to Queens. We went to Queens, and it was no, my bad. It wasn't in Queens. One of the guys, Smurf, he rented a firehouse, like an empty firehouse in Chinatown, and I swear to God, like he brought in. It was such an experience because I in my mind, remember, I went to Chinatown and those guys beat the crap out of me. So to me, those guys were the top. I wasn't thinking that there was other guys that were even better than them. So for that little tournament in the firehouse, it was so dope because Ryan Hart was there when he was playing BF4. He came in. There was this player, a legendary player from Japan called Kiasao. They call him Tetsujin. They call him Iron Man because back in the BF3 days, he beat like 100 dudes in a row. Like that was a challenge for you to become a Tetsujin in any other virtual fighters in the arcade is to beat 100 people in a row. Like no rest, no nothing, and he did that. Then there was this Japanese player also called CYC Aoi. There was a guys all over the state that came, and when I saw those guys beating the crap out of the guys that were beating the crap out of me, that I thought was the top guys in my region, Rodney and them, like I was like, wow. So that even expanded my brain even more. I was like, damn, I thought these guys were it, but there's guys out there from Japan, from, you know what I'm saying? Right. From the all over the world that are even better. So that was my first tournament experience. And then I loved it. I don't think I placed because obviously I was with killers. I was with guys that were beating the guys that were beating me. But it was still cool. Like I got to meet the guys, we played casuals. Like it was so freaking cool to see that the game that I thought, it's almost like, for example, it's almost like how do you feel that there's still new tech being found for ST?
I would say,
you know,
that's
like,
point.
wow.
Fair point.
That's how I felt. I felt like, damn, there's still higher levels to this game than this. I was like, damn. You know, because sometimes in your mind you think, you know, you play with the people you play all the time. And at the time, like I told you, at the time, there was no social media. There was no YouTube. So I'm telling you, it was so bad that when I met those Japanese players the first time, we made friends with them and they started shipping us DVDs from like Super Battle Opera so we could see more high level play. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was, that was my first tournament experience and it really opened my eyes to, there's always going to be, like you said, there's always going to be somebody that is on another level, you know, but it shouldn't discourage you. It should make you want to even improve more because it means that your game is not stale, you know, your game is not, you know, like, you know, there's more that you could do. So that was my first tourney experience. The second one was in Queens and we got to meet more Japanese players. And then there was one in Boston. The third one was in Boston. And that's the one I liked the most because it got me to go out of New York. You know what I'm saying? To actually travel. And it was a little adventure. Like me and Julio, we took the Chinatown bus to Boston. And then we got off out there and we didn't know what we were doing. We got on but luckily there were some nice people. We told somebody like where we were going. They brought us all the way down to the subway and they told the conductor, hey man, they got to get off at this stop. Make sure they get off at this stop. Yeah. But as far as placing, I don't think I placed until, man, what was it? I don't place until I started going to the tournaments for Empire Arcadia. Empire Arcadia was holding some tournaments and at the time, have you ever met my boy Rodney?
Yeah, I met him once before. Yes.
Yeah, Rodney. Like he's big friends with Norman and whatever. So Rodney, at the time, you know, we were both BF heads, and at the time Rodney was part of Empire Arcadia, so was Denkai. So I think that was the first time I placed. I think I got like second place, Virtual Fighter Evolution on PS2, and I went to one of those Empire Arcadia. I think I got a picture like when I was younger and skinnier.
That was the first time in a tournament for BF.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty dope, though.
Yeah, that really like that was cool. Like traveling for the game you like and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, after that, I got to experience both sides of the thing because then I was the guy who fixes stuff. So later on, we had tournaments where we were using arcade hardware. So I built the super gun so we could have two setups. And yeah. I even like made sure that we had like the card readers for the Naomi because some of the guys had gone to Japan for like, I believe for Beat Tribe Cup, they call it. And they actually like got cards for all of us. But the thing that sucked about the cards for BF was that you could only play, I think up to 500 games. And then you would have to send the card back to Japan for them to reload it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I always had a fascination with the Naomi cards actually, because I remember the first time that I held it, I held one for myself, and I was like, man, this is pretty dope. Like, didn't think it was like something like that
Yeah.
kind of existed, but I was able to technically have one and swipe it on a cab. It was
Yes.
on a Naomi cab. It was pretty dope.
It was cool. Yeah, it was
It's
cool.
very cool. It's very cool.
It was cool.
I think the last time I had a card was, well, it was not a Naomi. It was actually for a Nessica cab.
Nessica X Live. Yeah,
Right.
that's the stuff that came after. That's when Naomi, like Naomi 2, when Naomi became like old hardware. That's when these companies started making arcade machines that were based on PC. So like if you ever see the Title Type X, the Nessica X Live, it's a PC. It's, it's all metal, has a hard drive. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then they have the NFC readers, and then you hit your little Nessica card on there. I mean, it was dope as hell back then to be able to, because we told the Japanese dudes, oh yeah, customize my character. I want my Akira to look like this, and they would play, and you have to earn the items. In that particular game, you don't buy them, so you would have to earn. You have to play and earn. Go up in rank and earn the different like items that you put on. But yeah, man, like those experiences for me, it was cool. It was cool because back then there was no way of like now you could freaking. I didn't think I would ever go. So now everything is so available. I feel like the little magic that stuff had for us back then was because anything you wanted to learn, you would have to hustle for it,
Right. Yeah.
I have books, I have DVDs, and I have books still in my closet from Japan, from Super Battle Opera, or they would make a book. They have a book called the last book that they made for Final Tune before they went on to BF5 Vanilla was called the Orange Book, and it has like Vanessa, the character Vanessa in the front, and it has all the tactics in it, the frame data. Like I miss those days. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a detraction that everything for us now as FGC players is right there for you to do. Because it if you have it right there, most likely than not you're gonna take it for granted.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%, and that's the biggest lesson that I hope folks can learn. Like the availability of stuff back then was so hard to do. It's like there's like you have to get it from a certain plug in terms of
Yeah, you either had to have a hookup or like I told you, like if you met a certain player that was Japanese that came maybe to one of the big tournaments you went to, you made friends with that person, had contact with them, and have them ship you stuff. Like it was you had to like hustle to get your stuff back then, which kind of made it more fun. I mean, even when you went to the arcade, I remember going to the arcade. I don't know if this happened to you, but I remember getting my ass beat, and I would ask, and the spirit of competitiveness was so much back then that whoever beat your ass, they might not want to tell you. I'm like, nah, I'm not telling you. They wouldn't tell you because they didn't want you to learn the, what I'm saying?
Yep.
Their tech. and now we're so much more, we're better, we're so much more welcoming. You would think it would encourage more people to play because like I know in the shop, I know when you play in the shop and you talk to one of those new guys that is playing SD or whatever guy, and they ask you like, oh shit, how do you get out of this? You tell them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But back then people wouldn't tell you, and at that time you were putting money up, you were putting quarters, so people wouldn't tell you. They were very guarded with their tech. So I remember those days. Now everything is there. And even if the guy don't tell you, you go search it on Google. You probably find it on YouTube, how to get out of that setup or whatever. But yeah, my experience in the FGC has been good, man. I think even now, like even through my hard times, man, even when I lost my regular job in 2015, like this stuff really kept me, and all the skills that I learned because I was the guy, I was fixing stuff. So I learned all the arcade stuff. Even when I was going to the all next level, I used to be the brought all the streaming equipment and hook up the stream, and then I already knew how to work cam. So sometimes if something happened to the Blast City there, I would hook it up. I remember even one time Art, when I first met Art, he was like, yo, like I got this rainbow board, can you stream it? And I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm already streaming Naomi, and this is back in the old Next Level. I used to take because Naomi's VGA out. So I used to take I used to have like a VGA, me and Tech. We used to have a VGA distribution amp. We had like a 1-to-4. We would feed the Naomi in there, and then one would feed the monitor, and then one would feed, and then the capture card was only component. So then we needed like a transcoder that would take the VGA signal and turn it to component to feed the component capture card. I remember, man, the AverMedia C27, I think was the card. It was good times, man. I learned a lot, man, and I carried it on till now.
That's awesome,
like,
man.
Yeah.
That was my first. That was actually my first capture card as well. The AverMedia card. That was my. That was my first card. Oh my god. Well, actually no. My first capture card was actually the Dazzle. The Dazzle. The Dazzle card.
I remember the Dazzle. The Dazzle.
That was my first capture card, and that's when it's funny. That's when I first got into like streaming off of a console. And that Dazzle card, I mean, shout outs to this dude named Shamari, who was like, you know, in the past he was my boy, and he would lend me his Dazzle card, and I remember streaming on off the capture off of the Xbox 360.
I remember, dude, that shit was so funny because it was USB, and then it would come out, and then you would have the RCAs.
Yep.
That you hook up? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So when I had that, it was pretty dope. And I remember, I think the first time I gave it to Glitch actually, and he was like, I gave it to him because he would host these. I call it like basement sessions at his house when he lived at Springfield Boulevard, and when he was like there, then I gave him that card, and then next you know, maybe like years later, and that's when, you know, from Justin TV, it turned in from Justin TV to Twitch.
To Twitch, yeah. I remember.
That's when I first got the AverMedia card, and I'm like, I'm like, oh my god, you see the quality? The quality is so dope.
Yeah, you see the difference, yeah. Because there was I remember. Let me see, AverMedia C27, I think it was.
Yeah,
I remember because the AverMedia that we had, it would there was one that had like oh my god, it had like a USB port, but that USB actually would break out to a dongle. I mean, not USB, sorry, the HDMI port, and that would break out to a dongle that would have like the analog signals input. I remember, man.
Yeah, that was such good times with that. My god. So,
yeah, well, that's when technology was new. You had to figure out, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was still simpler times back then, but yeah, I completely agree with you. So, I'm pretty sure I think you went through your whole tournament scenario.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I mean, which was your favorite one though?
Honestly, as far as tourneys now, I have a lot more fun now in tourneys because back then, I was I mean, how do I even explain it? I was young, and I was starting. So now for me, like, I have less nerves now. I still got nerves, but I got less nerves. And then I'm doing it, like, when I have tournaments with you guys or the KOF guys, which this weekend we're having, like, Fatal Fury Special, and we're having, like, 98. Like, I feel less nerves because now I'm appreciating more the social experience. I get to hang out with all these guys and play, and you know. And I think the last tournament, I believe I got like second or third place in 98. And you know, this is a game that I never really like. You know, I started KOF in the old Brooklyn games, and I started with 2002. But I didn't really like. Eventually, I didn't like how uneven the tiers were. Like, the top characters were like astronomically top. Like, you couldn't do nothing. I took the same set of characters of 98 of that was using in 2K2 to 98, right. And I was able to hang with everybody, which means like the characters. To me, 98 is ST. Everybody's jank. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has jank stuff. So everybody could do, like, you know, could hold their own if you know how to avoid the jank of the other characters. But yeah, my favorite tourney, If I say the old ones, my favorite was when I got to get out of New York for the first time. When I went to Boston, I met Shang, and we got out of, you know, me, Haya, and Julio. We got out of, you know, our comfort zone, and we went to another state. Because before we used to go to other boroughs, but we went to another state. Got on a bus, took the color line subways, because it's not even letters, it's colors. And we got there fine, and we came back. That was the dopest to me, because it's the one that broke me out of my comfort zone, got me to go out of state and meet a whole bunch of, what I'm saying, of other North American players. Because out there, bro, that was a dope tournament. It was in Boston. The guy Shang, he's an old head. He was playing since part one. He hosted it. The dude, he's an ex-alumni of MIT. So we got to hold our tournament in a classroom in MIT. And we used it was like, the classroom was like this type of classroom where they have a projector in the back, and then the room is kind of slanted down, so the projector could project to the whatever you call that screen, the whiteboard, whatever you call it. So we got to hold the tournament for Virtua Fighter Evolution. We had a dude come from Australia, Mike. He's the host of he owns the site virtuafighter.com. He hosts that site. We got to meet like two guys from two like kids that they weren't even 18 yet. They were like 17. They were twins from Norway, Neutron and Raider. They came through, and then the whole BF community from all over America came through. And those two kids, like, they came because it was their last holiday, because when they turned 18, they were gonna serve. You know how they got the obligatory military service?
Oh yeah.
Certain countries, yeah. So they were like, they had the time of their life. And then I met some guys from. It was funny because I never knew that accent. We met some guys from Louisiana, and we became best buddies with them. And there was this guy. I got to show you pictures one day when we get together. There was a guy that was our homie, that we used to call him the real Jeff. He was originally from New York. He moved to San Francisco. He was pushing like 7 feet tall, and he had the dreads and everything, and the same, skin tone as Jeffrey from BF. So we used to call him Jeff, real Jeffrey. Like, it was a dope ass tournament. It was set. So I think that's my favorite right there, just because get out of your town, get to meet people from all over the world, all over America, and then get to have a tournament in MIT in a classroom. Yeah, that was probably the dopest, like the one that's my favorite. Even though now I enjoy, talking crap and playing with the guys on the regular in the arcade. But that one, I think, is the one that really it stays in my mind. The experience, the whole package, the whole experience.
Absolutely. And I do appreciate you bring that up in terms of like going all over the world. I feel like practically for me, my favorite tournament it's actually a tie between these two. One of it is like Combo Breaker 2016, and that was my first international tournament that I ever went to. Because I've never really, aside from like, obviously going to Guyana, which is, South America. But like, I have never traveled anywhere else to say, like, outside of New York, Connecticut, or anything like that, and say, oh man, I'm going here to just compete to play this video game that I play. And I'm like, it was kind of unbelievable. And shout out to Psychochronic, because he was the one that gave me the ticket, the bus ticket to just travel there. And I was like, at first I was kind of apprehensive about it.
It's a long ride too.
It was 12 hours. So yeah. But it's funny because on bus trips I kind of just fall asleep anyway. It didn't really matter. So I enjoyed the trip regardless, because obviously I like, when I travel, I like to see the scenery and all that good stuff. So it kind of really speaks to me, to say the least, about it. So I enjoyed it a lot. But I appreciate.
What was the second one?
The second one. So the second one was Combo Breaker 2019, only because that one for me, I met a lot of cool people, a lot of folks that was like international, a lot of folks that was like not from like across the U.S. as well. And I'm
There you
like,
go. Yeah,
then I'm like, man,
you got to put like faces to names because that's
oh
how I
yeah,
felt.
oh yeah,
I knew all these guys from online. I knew them,
hmm
even though like the game was not. We didn't play BF4 online at that time. It was just PS2. But I knew these people from the forums,
yeah,
from IRC, and we used to interact to ask each other questions. So to be able to put faces to all these people, and when you meet, it's kind of corny, but it's almost like when you meet people with a common love for a common thing,
hmm
then it's very easy to get along.
oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
easily, yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's what makes it. That's what makes it great. You meet people that you found a common share with, and then next thing you know, that common share turns into a
Time friendship, yeah.
long-term friendship. And it's
Just
kind
think
of
about
amazing.
that. These people will host you. Like when I think about that, like I think like the guy from Australia always tells me, bro, you ever out here, long shot, you ever here? I'm from Melbourne, whatever, you hit me up. I got you. And I'm pretty sure some people that international tell you the same thing. And that's dope. Like, you made that kind of friendship where you could land in certain parts of the world and you hit this person up and they got you. You know what I'm saying? They'll host you just because you shared that common love
Oh
for,
yeah, oh yeah,
for the game.
100%, 100%. Okay, so let's go on to the next section, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk
Let's
about
do
the
it.
FTC, right?
In general, like,
Yeah, in general.
yeah.
So,
I love. Oh no, ask me first, cause I don't want to
well,
like go on a tangent.
before you go on a tangent, I want you to tell me in terms of the modern FGC. In terms of there's like newer games out, Tekken 8,
Mhm.
Street Fighter 6, and everything like that.
Yes.
What do you think about today's modern FGC at this point?
If I be honest with you, I feel like the modern FGC lost a little bit of oh man, how do I even say it? Lost a little bit of the essence of what it used to be. See, like what me and you just said, were the whole experience of actually playing the game for the love of the game. I feel with the modern FGC, it's been a little bit lost because the modern games, people are, I mean, how do I articulate it? I feel like people play more now to just be popular or just get clout or just like things like that. I feel like now, like us, even though we love the game and we're competitive, we play because we're not playing because we're gonna win like some crazy pot money, or you know what I'm saying. We play because we still hold that love and the community. And I feel like in the modern games, the sense of the community has been lost a little bit, because now with the modern games, most people who play them seriously, they're looking to either be sponsored, to, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
or become a content creator from it and make it a career and stuff like that. And I feel like the grassroots side of it is lost. That's why I have more appreciation for the older games. And it's not necessarily to get in a discussion that the older games are better or whatever. Nah, that could be a whole nother episode. But my thing is like the older games at least got us, guys together, and we could still enjoy, an event without it being some kind of big sponsored or big name thing. That's what I mean. I feel like the older games still hold that soul, that essence of, let's just play, get together, and have fun. It doesn't need to be a major. It doesn't need to be, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It
Nah, I
doesn't
know.
need to be Red Bull Cup. It doesn't need to be none of that.
I know. I
It
know
doesn't need to
exactly
be
what you mean.
streamed. Yeah, that's the only thing that I feel, in my opinion, it's lost in the newer FGC. Because the whole other topic would be like, okay, well, now the games, they dumb them down a little bit to get a bigger audience, etc., etc., and it kind of alienates the older players who actually play a game for the challenge,
Mhm.
and then maybe your veteran players, you know how it is when SF6 came out, and all these veteran players from like 3, 4, and 5 were like, damn, I'm getting beat by a scrub, because they doing like, the what do you call those controls that they put in there?
Oh, the modern controls.
The modern controls, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a little bit was lost in the modern games. People don't play like for the same reasons we play.
Right.
That's why you still see, like, I love to see younger guys in ST events and Third Strike events, and I love it. I'm like, okay, at least there's a few younger dudes who are still appreciating the challenge of those older games. Because I think the challenge is cool, man. It feels so dope when you could pull off. You could sit there and be in practice mode doing all these crazy things. But unless you could pull it in a match, what does it matter, right? The satisfaction comes when you condition somebody in a match and you apply it under pressure. Now that's the satisfaction, you know?
Right. That is the satisfaction. And you're right in a sense because they definitely lost that essence of having the grassroots. I feel like the FGC nowadays is pretty much heading into the esports direction. And at this point now, you're absolutely right about one thing. It's more of I feel like it's more of a clout-based type of thing because nowadays it's like, well, instead of just playing it, I feel like they're not playing the game just to say to have fun. They're more playing the game because I feel like it's one of those, I have to play it in order to gain notoriety. And
notoriety, yeah.
And to gain notoriety and then like to make money at the same time. So it's
make money at the same time.
Like,
because you remember that SF5, not to interrupt you, at one point they were calling SF5 duty fighter.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these top players did not really enjoy the game. At least you could say that your top players, even your Daigos or whatever, they enjoy playing the older games. You get what I'm saying? They drew some joy out of it, even though they're famous for it. They have fun with it.
Yes.
They still draw joy from it. And it's almost like with 5, they were just playing because, hey, I'm sponsored, I have to. There's this competition and I have to show face. So now, where is that joy? Where's the joy? Where's the competition? That's why I'm forever gonna be stuck in the old games, because at least I know that most of the people that you're gonna find playing either ST or Third Strike or playing KOF 98 or the older KOF, those guys love it. I mean, you've been there when those KOF guys go down there and they buy beers for each other, order tacos, and they're just playing just to you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just playing just to have a good time and try to compete with each other. But that I feel like that's lost in the modern fighting game scene.
I feel you with that. So it's very good points that you made. But tell me this. So instead of them, so let's go past the modern at this point. Let's talk about the retro FGC.
The retro?
Yeah, as a whole, general, what do you think? What do you think is happening nowadays? Because what I mean by in terms of general, because nowadays it feels like we're moving in a direction that we have new hardware, right? We have new hardware. We're finding new ways to play play the old games in crispy,
in a modern setting.
In a modern setting.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing is putting undammed converters into arcade caps. So
yeah. I know about that. I wasn't one of the first to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But tell me as a whole, like, what do you feel? How do you feel about it?
Like the old games in the modern era.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I feel like it's dope. I feel that I feel the Ondam is a double-edged sword. If I keep it real, it's gonna bring more people to the older games, and it is. Like I see younger guys coming in with a fucking snack box, lunch box, whatever they use, and they try the game, and that's what they're comfortable with, and I don't blame them, because if they're really younger guys than us, and they came up with, like, let's say SF5. There was a big movement where, like, these games that are modern are made more catered towards either levelless or pads. So the fact that we put on cabs, if that could bring newer people, so be it. I mean, there's also going to be the bad side where, like, sometimes those level-less controllers, it's easier to play charged characters, etc. So it comes with good and bad, but that's everything in life. I'd rather have more people play, to be honest with you. And now it's a hell of a time for us to be like retro game players. Like we have it too good. Like when you win the crib, you have people over, you got the Mister, you could play on your Mister, and the Mister takes whatever control. It's not like you were playing Anniversary Edition on a PlayStation 4 where now your choice of controls are stuck to that console unless you have adapters. The Mister will take anything.
Right.
And then you also have, and on top of that, like you said, you have, for the times where you just home chilling, you have your Fightcade. I mean, you do have to take it with a grain of salt, right? You have to say to yourself, well, this is Fightcade, it's not the arcade board, it's not the Mister, it's not the cab, it's Fightcade. So you can't get tight about it. You just have to go in it with the expectation that it's not going to be 100% the same experience. But to have that much choice, it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful time to be like a retro fighting game player. Like it's only getting better. I just hope that like people don't take it for granted. I mean, because we got it too good now. I'd be saying us in New York, we too fortunate,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I know people from the West Coast that be talking to me like, damn, that place, Arcade Brooklyn, next level, you guys are lucky. I said, do you know that they're like literally 2 stops on the subway from each other? Like
It is
like
that is crazy. Yeah, on the arch.
It's sick. Yes. Yeah, think about it. Think about how crazy that is. And not only that, you have Red Parry. You have unfortunately they're closing down this month, I think, but you have the spot in that Carlos has his Versus City cabin there, Zeno. So it's almost like as a New Yorker, when people visit, I love seeing, I mean, what's up when the French guys, like, they're visiting and they're like, hey man, where can we play? And you be telling them, hey, you want ST, you could go here, you want this, you could go there, you want Third Strike, you could go there, and then you make sure that's awesome, especially for retro. It's amazing. I just feel like we need to not take it for granted. If you want my true opinion, we need to appreciate what we have and try to perpetuate it, and do our part to make sure it keeps going. That's why I kind of bust my ass when it comes to like fixing stuff. And I mean, even I'm not throwing nothing in nobody's face, but you remember when the thing blew up just before the barbecue, that I was machining in my head. I was going crazy. How am I going to get this cap back up? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like it literally, the monitor literally blew up 1 week before the barbecue. And I'm like machining in my head, and I'm like, damn. And then I remember, oh shit, I got this customer that sent me 3 chassis, and one of them was the same. And I already recapped them, tested them and everything. And I sent them one back, but he hit me up that he can't pay me now. So I told him I'm gonna hold on to these 2 till you could pay me. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I was like, I could just throw that fucking chassis over there and I'll tell my customer, hey, I'm giving your chassis a quality assurance test for a long time. To make sure that the shit is working under pressure. But you see what I'm saying? Like, bro, we have it too good now in the retro community. I just think we need to appreciate those who are. You need to kiss their ass or anything, but you need to appreciate those that are making it possible for our retro stuff to happen. You, me, Esteban, Henry, Next Level. We need to appreciate it, because those people, they're doing it for the most part. We're doing it for the love of it. I don't think I'm a millionaire for fixing freaking cabs or anything like that. I don't think you're a millionaire for streaming ST and perpetuating ST and doing events online and doing interviews, but you're doing it for the love of it. So I feel like I got to give my flowers to you and to those guys, because that's gonna make those people feel like, damn, what I'm doing is appreciated. You feel me?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So that's what I feel about our retro scene, driven by us. Think about it.
Yeah.
The modern stuff, the companies are still involved. So when a major, let's say, has SF6 or has like Tekken, if they apply for that Tekken World Tour, whatever, like Namco helps them, Capcom might help them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nobody helps us with ST. Nobody helps us with Third Strike. We help ourselves. And then those guys who are organizing, you, Steve, me, the guys in the West Coast, whether it's online or offline, I think those guys need to be appreciated in order for that to keep going.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, and it's true because it is, as people would say, like become doing a tournament organizer is a thankless job, and obviously I'm just for me when I host my tournaments there at Brooklyn Video Games, it's like I'm not doing it for the notoriety or anything like that. I'm doing it for
no, you're doing it because you love it. You love it. You love
for
it.
the love of the game, and then we got all these people that would come through. Enjoy. I mean, what better way to have a good time than to, eat some food.
Dude, you made it happen. You made it happen. Yeah. We made it happen. In that barbecue, we made it happen. And you know what's the beautiful thing is seeing the crazy like close matches and stuff like that, and you say to yourself, we made it happen. And at the same time, I'm sure that you're not going to tell me that nobody in that event didn't come to you as thank ants, for the for what you did.
No,
that's
I was well.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that will perpetuate the stuff. You don't need to, because we don't doing it for the clout, but you can't be ungrateful either. You get what I'm saying? So hell yeah, you guys, I give my flowers to you guys, the guys that organize in the West Coast, like Riz and those guys. They do their stuff online. You used to do your stuff with him, now you do your own, he does his own, but you guys are keeping it alive. And that, you got to give mad respect to that, because like I said, it's not a new game. The companies are not looking to help you, and you really are doing it for the love of it, because you're not making any profit from it.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I feel like in order for us to, I love that it's so easy now for retro games to be, especially retro fighting games, to be played with the Mister, and now the Mister is even better, because now you've seen, I don't know if you've been following the Mister, they made a few clones, which is bringing, like, having a whole Mister setup now, 160, I think. Yeah. This guy called Taki Udon. So now it's like more people could jump in. Before when we jumped in, that shit was $5. You know what I'm saying? For a whole set of $500-$600 if you got the metal case.
Yep.
Now it's like 160 for a whole. That's beautiful. That means that some of the ST guys that come to your events and the monthlies, and they want to stay tight and practice on something that's close to the real board, they could go buy a Mister for 160 and practice at home before they, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And they don't have to go buy a CPS2 multi, which is like, between the boards and the multi is like $1,000 now,
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. But
it just gets more expensive and more expensive. I can't wait till they do like a CPS3 core, but that's another story.
Yeah, but, I know Filtego has the board, so it's just a matter of just.
No, he has everything. It's just time. I think he does too many things, and then he's always consistently going back. Like right now, we ended up doing, like, Tech was telling me, like, oh man, I don't know how to tell, like, Jotego that the ST is a little bit, the CPS2 is a little bit too fast, and I'm like, bro, if you can't articulate it, just put it on social, and have the people who are of your same mind. I even posted it on the No Honor crew, because there's no better way to show the developer than have the users, not just you, because you're just one person, but have these other users in the No Honor crew, these other ST players, Vampire players, whatever, come in and let them know, hey man, this is a thing, man. Can you please look into it?
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So very well said. I appreciate your insight upon the FGC. So we reached towards the end.
Sure.
Tell me, I know we kind of touched base upon earlier before in regards about your upcoming projects. So tell me, what are the upcoming projects you got going on that's coming soon within the next?
Oh, very soon. So the upcoming projects is me and Tech Monkey. So if people don't know, there's a version Dark Souls. I don't know who made it. I don't know if it was Grego or Dark Souls. Somebody made a version of Super Turbo with like tournament battle mode, which is basically you run the ROM on 4 different boards, and these boards link to each other via S-video cables. So now you're gonna need you're probably gonna end up needing like the 4 Astros and the 2 Versus, because it's 4 boards connected to each other. But the tournament mode is dope. It literally runs itself. So like the board, the main board, there's gonna be the first board is gonna be the master board, and then all the other ones hooked up are gonna be like clients. Boom, 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 and the thing runs itself. Like it literally runs the bracket. It's not like it's gonna have names or anything, but each player is gonna pick his character with a specific color, and now it's gonna tell you, okay, so blue Ken and red Ryu, they're gonna be in setup 4, and then you go down there and it shows you how everything, and we're working on that. So like a long time ago, I think even during the old iFix days, like Tech, that was his dream. He was like, oh man, I want to get so he got the 4 boards, and I installed HDMI on all 4 of them, and I put the multi on them, but we had a hard time finding the ROM, so I had to like go around, and I hit up this guy, the guys that's doing the Mars project, the FPGA, a track 17. I was like, yo, a track, what's up, man? And he's like, he's cool with me, and I was like, yo, I need some ROMs. He's like, yeah, whatever you want. And I'm like, cause Tech was already frustrated. He was like, I can't get it, I don't know who to ask. I'm like, don't worry. So I hit up the dude, and the dude was like, nah, yeah, I got you. So he gave me the battle tournament ROM, which we're gonna use, and then he gave me the Final Fight Anniversary Edition, which, if people don't know, somebody took Final Fight, a group of programmers, they recoded it to run on CPS2 hardware. It's originally a CPS1 game, and running on CPS2 utilizes all the power of the CPS2, so you get more enemies on screen, no flickering on the sprites, the AI is better, and you could hook up to 3 cabinets together to have 3 players. So it's pretty dope. And he gave me that, and he gave me what's the other game? Maybe Ghouls and Ghosts, the conversion. But the whole thing is that even yesterday I met up with Tech because one of his boards didn't have the communication port. Right. And I stole it from one of my broken boards here. I stole it and then I installed it for him. But we're working on that. So now I updated I put the ROMs in all the multis. So that's the next thing. I think we're getting together maybe like early next week and do like a test run. Everything is at Brooklyn Arcade. And maybe for the monthly next month, we'll try to run it like that style. That's the problem. I want to make it happen because like Tech told me about it a long time ago, and I'm like, okay, let's make this. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, so let's make it happen, and it'll be dope because it's only been done by Darsoft in Spain, and I think Mitsurugi W did it in Texas in free play, I believe. Yeah. So we will only be like the 3rd people to do it. I think it'd be dope. But like I told Tech, let's do it ourselves. Let's run it first, make sure that the shit works, and then we could implement it into like the monthly rotation. Well, that'll be that's the latest thing. I want it. I'm fiending to do it. I just like to see stuff happen, Yeah, the first time I saw it was at, I believe it was Texas Showdown 2002, 2022. 2022, yeah, and that's when I saw it the first time, and that's when I remember Grego was at that tournament, and they'd set that up. I thought it was pretty dope. I really thought it was pretty dope how that worked, and I want us to be like the 3rd people to do it. You know what I'm saying? Man. I mean, we definitely should make that happen. And everything is looking good. Like I just finished. Literally, I took. Yesterday, not only did I did what I did for Tech, but I took one of the multis home, and I took all the cards. I took all the micro SDs, and I just literally before the call, I just finished formatting all the cards and adding the whole set of ROMs and testing them. So it's just a matter of like I'll probably bring that back to the arcade whenever I go back to the arcade and put it together, and then me and Tech get together sometime early next week, test it, and if we get it like going good, because he has all the wires. So technically speaking, it's almost like the master board, it's going to connect to the second one to the 3rd, and the 3rd to the 4th, and then you have to have like an extra like short cable with termination, like 75 ohms to ground or something, to let it know that the signal terminates here, like it doesn't go any further. So then but that's going to be dope if we did it's just a matter of time. We're going to do it probably next month's monthly. Hopefully you come through, because it'll be a dope thing that like run a tournament without brackets and let the board itself run the tourney, pick the matches, and red guy and blue guy, you go over here, you go over there. can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm
to see
excited
that.
about that last project.
I can't wait to see that. That'd be pretty dope, though. So, so besides that kind of project, do you have any aspiring tournaments that you want to attend within the next 2, 3
Honestly
years?
speaking, yeah, I do, man. I feel like I want to get my quote unquote my shit together and get like a regular job, because I definitely would love to go, go with you guys to either Japan or go to Evo, stuff like that that I never got to do. That's within the 2, 3 years. That's what I want to do. I want to get my shit together, financially speaking, because right now what's sustaining me is just, the modding stuff, which is not bad, but it's not like a normal job. There's no insurance, there's none of that. So I want to get a regular job and then keep this as a side hustle. And then I want to start attending again. I want to go chill with you guys at Evo, or even if it's just going to like Combo Breaker or something like that, just chill in the arcade room with you guys as just a regular guy, not staff, not nothing, because I've done the staff, stuff with before a couple of times. I was like production, and I mean, you saw me in DTN 2019.
Oh yeah.
Like, the arcade room I was running. But yeah, I would love to just go as and experience what I didn't experience. Evo, Japan. I would go crazy in Japan. Are you kidding me? Like, if I go there, it's like not only am I just going to be happy as a player, but I'm a technician. I'm going to be like, hey guys, let me help you get that stream better. Because I'd be loving the Japanese stream, but I'd be like, damn, they play godlike, but the stream look like shit. Like, I wish I could help them, put HDMI on their CPS2s, on their CPS3, like get them up in the streaming wise, because gameplay wise they got that.
Oh man. Well,
I can't hate on the gameplay. I hate on the capture. That's it. The gameplay, they beat our asses. But
yeah,
the capture is the thing that I would love to help them with. Like show them, because even when Boss came down the last time, I told Boss straight up. I was like, Boss, what the fuck you doing? Like, because I spoke to him like over a year ago. When they first released the HDMI, the DC HDMI 2, which is it could be fitted into an Iomi, and we did it on the shop. And I told Boss about it. I said, yo, next time you come, because he comes every year anyways, when he does his little travel and he stops in New York, I was like, yo, next year bring an Iomi from Big One or whatever. Like, I won't even fucking charge you. Like, I'll help you. You get the board, I install it, take it back to Japan. I want to see some godlike CVS2, but in HDMI. Not no fucking S video, not composite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's what I wanna help with. I get a lot of satisfaction. I loved it, man. When I got that cap going and you guys were playing on it during the event, I was like, yeah. I was like, internally, I was feeling happy, man, to make that happen for you guys. Like, people don't know, like, the satisfaction you get. I'm sure you get the same satisfaction when your event goes off and it goes good and everybody has a good time and there's some dope matches. Everybody ate, everybody had fun. There's satisfaction in that. I tell people, like, it doesn't have to be, that you get followers or clout. Nah, it's like you made that happen.
Absolutely, and that's virtually what's important to me. To be honest with you, it's just that, just like you said, it's more of the satisfaction. The satisfaction that I ran a good event. Everybody enjoyed themselves, and
they ate. They forget about it. They had the whole
they played. They had the whole day. They had the whole day.
The whole experience, bro. The whole experience. Are you kidding me? Like, you go. You get to play some of the best people in the game, that you love, and you get to eat and chill. Come on, there's nothing more. I'm sure you made all those people's weekend. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than that. Like, that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel in my head. It's like, yeah, I was part of that. You feel me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you still gotta, when we leave the arcade, you still gotta go to your regular job. I still got a mod. I still got my kid to take care of. You still have your problems, but you made those people's weekend your own and theirs. Like, and I feel like if we could take a message from my interview is, we need to appreciate more the people that make those moments happen, especially when it's an old game. I don't care if it's SF6. That's the hot thing now. Tekken 8 is the hot thing. The companies care. When we're talking about the stuff that we do, ST, Third Strike, KOF, and we make it happen and people come and have a good time, I feel like those people, we need, appreciation in the sense that what we're doing is not for nothing. We get our satisfaction, but every once in a while, if somebody comes up to you and says, "Oh, thanks, man. Like, I really had a good time this weekend." Da da da. That's because if we don't appreciate the people that are doing it, like you, me, Esteban, like Riz, eventually, people are gonna get tired, and if we don't.
Yeah. No, you're right. People are going to get tired and, burnt out, and folks won't be able to do it. And that's pretty much one of the biggest things in terms of burnout. Sometimes that normally happens within, if folks kind of feel like they do too much, but sometimes the venue kind of does their own shit and it kind of doesn't go the right way how it's supposed to. So I completely understand, and you're absolutely right about that. But yeah, man. So we're at the end, man, and let me just say, thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you, man. Like, I really wanted you to be on this episode. And one of the biggest things is I really wanted to hear from your perspective in terms of how things were, and did you enjoy? I mean, how was it like on your upbringing to your competing days to basically your modding days as well? And I really appreciate that for sure. So thank you so much for being on this episode. And I think his phone must have went out or something like that. I mean, it happens. So, folks, just letting you know, you can find him pretty much on Twitter as Cruzlink2. And basically, you can definitely find him in your other places. Oh, I think he's back. I just heard him. What's going on?
Yeah, I got kicked out. I think I had the Bluetooth headset on and it was dead. And I guess it charged and it took over again.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys didn't miss. My final message is just appreciate the ones that are perpetuating the game that you play, especially if it's an older game, because it's not easy to run older games. It takes a lot of work. And for the most part, it's the people, running it. It's not, there's no companies helping. So if you're able to go, like, for example, didn't you go to that French event?
Yeah, the XSB. Yes.
And that was the whole community ran, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
See what I'm saying? Like, your barbecue, and it was amazing. So I feel like that's my final message. Just, give their flowers to the people that are making that happen, and help too. However you could help. You come in. Oh, you need to run brackets, you need to do this. Help, because there's no company behind it. It's just the players themselves. So
yep.
That's my final message. I'm going to keep on doing it. I don't care. As long as I could keep Brooklyn Games arcade going, help you with your events, help with other stuff, fix cabs and just perpetuate it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you greatly for that, man. I was telling folks where to find you. Pretty much on Twitter is Cruzlinks2, and obviously you can catch them at Arcade Brooklyn. So all that's gonna be pretty much in the description. And thank you very much for the last word, and thank you very much for being on this episode for real, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for interviewing me, man. No. I'll see you at the arcade, I guess, for the next ST monthly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. For the next ST monthly, I will be there. Between that and you can come over to fix my setup soon. But
okay, yeah. Well, the next time I'm in Jersey for sure, like, I'm gonna hit you up. Even if I get away for like a few, because usually I go to see my daughter out there. But if I could get away for a few hours, I'll go over there and take care of you. Like the next weekend, I go up there. Maybe the 24th. My daughter told me because she wanted me to be around like that weekend because she's leaving to college.
Oh snap! Well, congratulations.
So I'll thank you, man. I'll escape for a few hours and then go help you out with whatever you need. All right.
All right, that sounds good. We'll chat about it, man. But thank you, everybody, for listening into this episode. Cruz, love you like a brother, my man. Thank you so much for being on this episode, man.
No problem.
And everybody who's tuning in, thank you so much for listening. This has been another episode of Mega Man Legends. See you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.